Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another video. Took a little break for the holidays. Things were so hectic, I didn't have time to film anything, but I am back with a small haul. So I did some shopping today with a friend of mine. We went to the bookstore and then we also did some thrifting. So this video will really just cover the books that I bought today, as well as the movies I thrifted, and actually I'm also going to include some of the movies I got for Christmas. So let's begin with the things that I purchased today. They're in this tote bag. This actually was a gift many years ago from my friend. It has all these little black cats with books in various poses. See this one? So on the other side, it actually says, "Cool Cats Read." Hopefully you can read that okay. Cool Cats Read. Okay. So I will open up my bag of goodies here. So first things first, we'll look at the books. So the first book I bought was The Ministry of Time. And this is by Kellyanne Bradley. So it's this lovely paperback edition. Love the cover. I think it's so, evocative. So the friend I went shopping with bought this a while ago, I think early this year, and she loved it. And I've since heard great things about it, just generally. Clearly it's popular and has won some, or at least been on top of some lists. I don't love when these are always in the cover design, but hey. And I have some friends who I know were planning to read this from the library, so I wanted to make sure I was, keeping up. So I'll read you the premise. It will be facing me because I can't read upside down that well. An ingeniously imagined, hilarious romp through time, space, and the human heart that announces an exhilarating new voice in contemporary fiction. In the near future, a civil servant is offered the salary of her dreams to work on a top-secret project. A recently established government ministry is gathering expats from across history to establish whether time travel is feasible for the human body, but also for the fabric of space-time. She is tasked with working as a bridge, living with, assisting, and monitoring the expat known as 1847, or Commander Graham Corps. As far as history is concerned, Commander Corps died on Sir John Franklin doomed 1845 expedition to the Arctic. So he's a little disoriented to be living with an unmarried woman who regularly shows her calves, surrounded by outlandish concepts such as washing machines, Spotify, and the collapse of the British Empire. Both an appetite for discovery, a 7-day cigarette habit, and the support of a charming and chaotic cast of fellow expats, he soon adjusts. Over the next year, what begins as an excruciatingly uncomfortable housemaid dynamic evolves into something much deeper. By the time the true shape of the ministry's project comes to light, the bridge has fallen haphazardly, fervently in love with consequences she never could have imagined. Forced to confront the choices that brought them together, the bridge must finally reckon with whether what she does next can change the future. An exquisitely original and fervently fun fusion of genres and ideas, the Ministry of Time asks, what does it mean to defy history when history is living in your house? January, starting off the year fresh with something new. I think it'd be perfect. So the mystery of time. So we're gonna put this to the side. And next, let me get my receipt out of here. Next we have a soul. This is by Olivia Atwater. So this book is a Regency setting, but the twist is it's a fantasy Regency with fae. So we'll read a little bit about it, why don't we? It's difficult to find a husband in Regency England when you're a young lady with only half a soul. Ever since she was cursed by a fairy, Theodora Eddings has had no sense of fear or embarrassment, an unfortunate condition that leaves her prone to accidental scandal. Dora hopes to be a quiet, sensible wallflower during the London season, but when Elias Wilder, the handsome, peculiar, and utterly ill-mannered Lord Sorcerer, discovers her condition, she's instead drawn into dangerous fairy affairs. If her reputation can survive both her curse and the sudden connection with the least liked man in all high society, then she and her family may yet reclaim their normal place in the world. But the longer Dora spends with Elias, the more she begins to suspect that one may indeed fall in love, even with only half a soul. So it's described here as, whimsical and witty, brimming over with charm. So it looks like a really fun read. And I recently, I think I heard about this around, Goodreads and other places online, but I recently saw a TikTok of sort of a book, not book influencer, but just like someone who talks about books. And she was hyping this up. She said it was full of yearning, that it was sort of kicking feet, giggling kind of vibes, of just a good time. So I'm very excited for this. And me and my friend who I went book shopping with are planning to try and buddy read this maybe. We're hanging out for New Year's, so I think part of the day we're gonna just sit and we're gonna read and we're gonna have a little fun time. So I'm very excited for this one. We'll see how it pans out. And then I only got one more book, and that is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. So this is a Canadian author, I believe. Won some Toronto Book Awards, so I believe she's a Canadian author. And this has somewhat recently been adapted into a television series. But again, my friend who I went book shopping with, she is the biggest reader I know. I will trust her opinion on books, on TV, on movies, without question, because she knows what's up. And she really loves this and recommended it, so let's give it a little read. One snowy night, Arthur Leander, a famous Hollywood actor, dies on stage during production of King Lear. Hours later, the world as we know it begins to dissolve, moving back and forth in time, from Arthur's early days as a film star to 20 years in the future when a theater troupe known as the Traveling Symphony roams the wasteland of what remains. This suspenseful that's a word I've never seen before. Elegiac spellbinding novel charts the strange twists of fate that connect 5 people. Arthur, the man who tries to save him, Arthur's first wife, his oldest friend, and a young actress with the Traveling Symphony, caught in the crosshairs of a dangerous self-proclaimed prophet. Sometimes terrifying, sometimes tender, Station 11 tells a story about the relationships that sustain us, the ephemeral nature of fame, and the beauty of the world as we know it. So, a very sort of, I don't want to say strange, but I love that it jumps back and forth in time. I think the setting in past and present was going to be really interesting. I feel like I saw a lot about this during the pandemic, so I don't know if that's it's just all of this definitely apt for the pandemic time frame. So I'm very excited to read this. That sounds really incredible. I only knew a little bit of that blurb. I don't think I ever fully read the blurb, so I'm really excited. Now we move on to the DVDs. So get the receipt out of the way. First off, I was very excited to find this because it's still sealed. It's When Harry Met Sally on DVD. So a special edition even. Love that. So it's Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan, a classic rom-com, probably honestly the rom-com. And it's perfect for New Year's. It has a great New Year's Eve finale that makes it very much worthwhile. So I recommend checking this out if you haven't seen it. There's some great 90s fall attire in this. It's beautiful. It spans, I'm not sure what the timeline is exactly, if it's like a full year or less than or more than a year, but it goes through stages of these, well, I know it's more than a year because they meet multiple times, but essentially two people, chance encounters throughout their young lives. You know, they hate each other, they become friends, maybe more. I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful, wonderful rom-com. It's so funny, honestly. Next we have A Mighty Wind. So this is a Christopher Guest mockumentary. He also did Best in Show and Waiting for Guffman, if you know those. So this is sort of considered of his three kind of big mockumentaries, his best and I think his most successful mockumentaries. So this is about a folk music festival, sort of reunion. So folk is big in the 60s, so all of these acts are fictional, but the premise is that they were big in the 60s and they're coming back for this big reunion festival. And so it sort of is going back between, you know, what happened before, retelling, you know, the story of their successes, and then where they are now. And it's his most heartfelt of any of his mockumentaries, his most sincere in a lot of ways. And I really enjoyed it. I only watched it recently, so I'm happy to have a copy. We have The Prince and Me. So this is one that I really liked as a kid. And for some reason my mom once very randomly bought The Prince and Me 2. We didn't know the first one, but she just bought it for no reason, so but I am really thrilled to have found this. It's one me and one of my friends have joked about wanting to watch like all the Prince and Me movies, and a bunch of them are streaming, but not The Prince and Me, the first one, which is the best one, obviously. So very excited to have this. It is widescreen. That's always preferred. Yeah, really excited for this one. I remember really enjoying that as a kid. It's just a fun rom-com, you know. And then speaking of fun rom-coms, Down with Love with Renee Zellweger and Ewan McGregor. So this is a play full screen. Not great, but we'll make do. This movie plays off of the like 60s 60s romance movies. I guess they're rom-coms too. Anyway, it plays off of the tropes and the style of these movies from the 60s, particularly like the Doris Day, Rock Hudson, Tony Randall movies, if you know those. Like I don't know if all of these are all three of them, but like oh gosh, what was it? It's like something about Daisy. Don't Eat the Daisies is one, and I want to say Move Over, Darling, but that might be James Gardner. Anyway, of that ilk. Oh, Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk is definitely one that's Rock Hudson, Doris Day. Anyway, it plays off of that style of movie, and so it sort of depicts the 60s as the 60s exist in those types of movies. So it's layers of fiction, essentially. Like, it's not portraying a realistic 1960s. Anyway, I don't actually remember the base premise, but essentially it's sort of a battle of the sexist kind of movie, where they're sort of at odds and they're both trying to play each other. It's very cute, very fun. They're both excellent in it. I recommend it. It's a fun one. I didn't realize I'd bought full screen edition, but hey, we'll make do, I suppose. Let's see, does it have a widescreen option? Probably not. Oh well. I'll see if it's streaming, if I really am determined to watch like the proper widescreen format. Okay. And now we will move on to the Blu-rays that I got for Christmas. Okay. Try and put these off so you can't quite see them. The first one is Saving Private Ryan. One of my favorite Spielberg movies. I know sometimes it feels like cliche to talk about Spielberg and talk about this movie, but it is truly one of my favorites. I've been trying to do more Blu-ray because obviously it's higher quality. And my brother is the type to always try and find the highest quality item. So if I ask him for a movie and I give him an Amazon listing for a DVD, he's gonna try and find the Blu-ray. So Saving Private Ryan on Blu-ray. Not one I've watched in a long time, but it's one I really enjoy. Next we have The Shape of Water, the Guillermo del Toro film. I haven't watched this one probably since it came out, but I loved it at the time. Really, really beautiful film. I think Guillermo del Toro is one of the best directors out there. I love pretty much everything he's made. And there's only a couple movies of his I haven't seen still. This is probably one of my favorites. I think Pan's Labyrinth is probably still my favorite of his, but Crimson Peak I really enjoyed. Pacific Rim I really enjoyed. Yeah, he's just a really fascinating director, and I think he loves cinema so much, and he loves love. I just think he's such a positive filmmaker, and he's so he's so supportive of other creatives. I think he's a neat dude. Anyway, so Shape of Water, very, very excellent film. And then finally, my brother also got me The Departed. It's a Martin Scorsese film. I know a lot, like this one is so polarizing for a lot of people. I really liked it when I first watched it. It was a great cast. I do think it gets a little convoluted